Hey everybody, this is day 14, which is Friday, October 26th. This is the final day before midterm conferences begin. This is the final class before the research proposals are due. This is essentially the big turning point for the class when they begin their research that's going to carry them straight on until the last day of class. So students might be nervous, they might be excited, they might be worried. All of those are appropriate things to feel. If no matter what happens in this class today, they're going to all be meeting with you next week one-on-one. So you'll have the opportunity to really help them understand what's going on if they're having trouble, or to encourage them, or to dissuade them, as the case may be, next week. So this is an important class, but also it's setting up for a week of reflection and readying for the stuff that comes after. The things you should bring to class today: you're going to go over the prompts for Project 5, the field notes, and Project 6, the research poster, during this class session. So if you're the type who brings paper prompts for those, you should do that. The other things you should probably bring a note card, one for each group, so that, well, you'll see. You can work around that if you don't want to, but a note card is nice and easy and compact, is why I like it. So, the first activity, I'd recommend you group them by project, essentially. So maybe you want to get all of the people doing interviews over here, and the people doing surveys and questionnaires over there, and the people doing anything else over there. Or maybe you want to break them up by topic, and you want to do everybody doing stuff related to online communication over there, and everyone doing stuff related to sports and hobbies over there, or whatever else the big chunks or themes might be. The point of this is for them to really go through the data gathering documents that they've made and to do a very quick peer review on those. I don't have a structure laid out for this. They are imagining that they are receiving it as a study participant, and saying, is this clear? Would I want to do this study? Why? So really examining those documents, and I say 10 minutes for this, 15 minutes at most, just so that they can really check in and see how everybody else is doing. They still might want to adjust or incorporate new methods in, and this is a moment for them to see how that might work. After that, I have them working for about 10 minutes in their pairs, and what they need to do is they need to write on, I say, an index card, essentially a reduced, condensed version of their research proposal, broken down into their research question, the things they're going to examine, the ways they're going to gather them, and what they hope to get out of doing this study, what they hope the outcome might be. So they're going to use this to pitch you their project, so they need to have it refined. They're going to have a very limited amount of time to pitch you their project, so spending these 10 minutes really narrowing it down will be useful to them. After they've had that time to do some writing, I would suggest making them stop and turning their attention to projects 5 and 6 prompts. They should know that next week they're going to have lessons devoted to each of these projects at the beginning. So if things aren't completely solid right now, they will be, as well as they'll be able to talk them through one-on-one with you in consultation. So there's a bit of a typo on the binder thing. Note that the poster showcase is the 30th. That's on a document you'll see, so that won't be confusing to you. Just one of these prompts is a little outdated on the binder. Talk them through each of the projects, make sure they understand generally what's the next things they're going to do. The field notes is a check-in about how the research is going and where it's going next, and that's written by each group member. And turned into you privately, so they have space to complain about their group mate if something's going wrong. The poster is created by both of them, and it will be due on the 14th, I think, and shown off on the 30th. So there's time to print it in between. The next thing after that is really takes you through the end of the class. So this is 35, 40 minutes, depending on how much you have left. This is each group is going to come up to you to seek provisional approval on their research proposals. You're not going to read the whole research proposal now. You're not going to read any of it now. They have to talk with you and explain their project to you. If you look on Canvas, you will find a checklist for you to use for this activity. Of course, you can adapt it, change it, throw it away, whatever. But it goes through a list of questions that you can ask them to determine whether they're actually ready to do this research or not. For instance, are they really just angling for one outcome on this and they haven't even thought of what another outcome could be? Is this going to be a one-sided research project? If it is, then it's not approved yet. It's pretty strict on the questionnaire or on the checklist, but of course that's yours to adapt as makes sense to you. But it lays out all the information you need to assess if this project is ready, at least for now, or not. And I do encourage you to reject ones that are clearly not fully baked yet. Essentially, they're going to be presenting to you what they wrote on the index card, and they're going to be showing you the data gathering documents that they've made. You scrutinize the documents as much as seems appropriate to you, and if they are not pitching you something that sounds convincing, then you tell them, this is not ready yet, go away and fix it, if it's something small that they can fix. If it's like clearly their project is not going to work, they're on the wrong track, then I would give them that feedback here. And one thing that I'm suggesting in the binder is give them an extra day or two on submitting Project 4, the research proposal, so that they have time to make a big change. Others won't need that time. They'll be done and ready. But for the groups that really are struggling, it's probably a good idea not to rush them into a project that's not going to work. So I would advise giving, for the groups that really need it, don't approve them to start researching, but give them some hard feedback and encourage them to start again and give them a couple of days extra to do it. That's how I play it anyway. If once the group gets approved by you, and basically you're saying, it sounds like you're ready to do research, go gather your data. You're not saying that Project 4 is done and complete. They still have to turn that in. You still have to mark it complete. And if it's not complete, they will still need to revise and resubmit it. But it's saying that your idea is sound enough, your research process makes sense enough that you can start interviewing people. If their proposal isn't solid enough, they'll still have to change it up a bit and revise it, fix it. But you're saying the research sound enough that you can get started. If you're saying it's not, then it's not. Once they get pre-approval from you, they can go. You may have half an hour or 40 minutes of class left at that point, and they can start their research that minute, or start their planning for that research that minute. That time can be theirs. If they don't get approved, then that time can be used for revising. You should probably, before all is said and done, before you set them free, remind them again about how the conferences work, and we'll go over that again in staff meeting, but it's also laid out in the binder. And also how class structure is going to work for the next week. That there's a short lesson at the beginning queued to those two projects, and that the rest of the time is going to be for conferences, that they have to come back at the end of class to fill out an exit slip. So they may not go to 15 minutes and then disappear. They have to go to 15 minutes, maybe disappear, and then come back at the end. That's a requirement for those days so that they don't just disappear. That takes you through the week. At the end of the week, they should have their research proposal just about ready to go, and you'll get to read those over the weekend if you want. Should be pretty cool.